We pressed the button and we're live. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, the wonders of modern technology. Press that button. Well, good evening, Heather. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm enjoying this lovely weather.
Oh, God, it's been amazing. Hasn't it been a lovely day? Absolutely lovely.
Not a cloud
Before we do all that, let's say hello to the people that are here, because I managed to say good evening to everybody earlier. We've got Hannah, hello. We've got Relaxing Alchemy, I believe that's Mara, hello. Red Wing, good evening. And Laura, hello, sweetie, how are you? And Tina, hello. So, got people in, and for those people that can't get in and say hello, hello to you. And if you can get in, come and give us a wave. You won't bite it. Well, you might do, but you know. Hello. So I've got a bit of a dodgy eye today. I was just saying to Heather, I've got a bit of a dodgy eye. I'm up the woods today, and I decided to bring 3 planks of wood home with me in my eye socket. So it's a little bit sore. I can't see very well. I think it's the disturbing it, because all the while it was kind of in there, it was uncomfortable, but you know. But I got home, it's like, I have to deal with that because it's bugging me. And of course, having now dealt with it, it's sore and I can't see very well, so it keeps going blurry. So you may well have to read things for me, I think. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
That's the thing. If you transport logs in your eye, it's not good.
No.
None of it's over your shoulder lot.
Looking up at the same time as shaking a tree. Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, that's where it all went horribly wrong. It's like, oh, I wonder if this one is. Ow! But it was a nice time down at the woods. It was lovely, actually, and the weather was just gorgeous. And of course, it's such dense woodland there that you get very little light through. But the light that you get is this bright green. Oh, it's just lovely, absolutely lovely. We had a fire, and it was very nice. I enjoyed it very much. It was lovely. Just what I needed. That was, apart from the eye bit. But yeah, just what I needed. You've been out on your travels, haven't you, Mrs.?
I have. I've been away in the Blessed Bee.
Successful
trip. Very successful trip. No major disasters. It rained quite heavily, which was a bit disconcerting. More for the stuff in the awning, but we were snug as bugs. It was lovely. All the poor people camping were absolutely, drowning and stuff, and we were in putting the kettle on. It's like, yes, that's what I do.
Nice thing about the camper van. You just peer out the window and go, oh.
I think I'll stay in here and read for a bit. But I had a lovely magical time because I did excuse myself and go off for a very long walk in and around the site and found some lovely woodlands. And I mean, I don't know if anyone else does this. I know I do, but it's this thing of when you go into woodlands, you kind of know where you are, and all of a sudden you feel like you're a bit lost, and that's a great feeling because it's almost like you've wandered into something else, like the land of Fae. You kind of know that you shouldn't be lost, but you're slightly somewhere else. I love that, and I hadn't had a chance to do it in a long time, so I got delightfully lost in a bit of woodland, and then when it was time to come out, I came out. Felt like I'd been away ages, hadn't been.
Yeah. Oh, nice though. Did you do any foraging while you were in there?
Any what? Sorry.
Foraging.
No, I didn't do too much. Our menu and meals, especially catering for a husband and a son, were fairly well laid out. If it involves chips, my son's quite happy, and you don't get many of those in the forest. So I was just more interested in just feeling it, really, just connecting with it. And there's some lovely big trees there, and some lovely dapple, as you say, that light that you get in kind of May, June, where there's a greenness you don't get any other time of year. And with all that rain that we'd had, really everything is so lush. It was horrible getting wet for a whole month, but now everything is out. I came back home and literally went to my garden. Every single rose bush has done a complete and utter blur. And decided to just launch themselves. My foxgloves are out, my roses are out. Everything's come all at once. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, actually, I was surprised when I came home today. I've got some wild roses on the front bit, and loads of them were out, and they weren't out this morning. When I went out this morning, they weren't out, and I came back, and there's this sort of sea of white flowers. It's like, ooh, exciting. So yeah, that was really, really rather nice. I was rather chuffed about that. That's actually reminded me. It's a bit of a tenuous link, but I was watching Lucia's Magic for the month of June, which was linked to the MoonCon talks that are happening with Moon Books. And she was talking about the wild roses and the origins of them. And she was saying about, not the origins, but sort of local folklore of the wild roses. And I won't be able to do it justice. But what I would recommend is that you go over to Lucia's channel, which is Lucia Starza, I believe, on YouTube. I'll put a link up later on. And she talks about some of the mythology. In fact, she talks about all sorts of stuff, Magic for the month of June. And it's a really, really good talk this month. But she specifically mentioned roses and how they're, the wild roses, they've got the 5 petals on them.
Oh, yeah.
But they were known for magically keeping secrets and stuff, which is why you sort of see on Tudor houses and so on, you sort of see the roses that be on important business meeting rooms and things like that, sort of chambers where nothing would come out from beyond those walls. And I was like, wow, I actually haven't heard of that before. I was really quite interested. But I'll put a link up on that. So go, if you get, another half an hour, you would need something to do, I strongly recommend you head over there and have a listen to Lucia's talks. It's really, really good, as it always is. I love listening to Lucia talk, and it's brilliant. So yeah, absolutely. So that was that. But yeah, it was lovely coming home to see them today, and they're really white. The ones in the front are really white. The ones at the side, they've got like the pink tips to them, which are quite pretty. But the ones in the front, they're really stark white. And in about 3 weeks' time, I get the red ones. So I'll get the red ones and the white ones. So it's quite patriotic, really.
Yes, I need to go and cut some of mine, because mine are the sort of very fragrant kind of big blousy blooms. They're not wild ones, they are cultivated ones, but they smell incredible. So I need to go and cut a couple of the blooms, bring them in the house, and literally 2 blooms in a room fills the space with amazing fragrance.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. It was funny today, actually. Before I went out, I had my windows open in my bedroom, and I've got the lavender underneath the window in my bedroom. And of course, that means that the bees are quite interested, and it's not quite ready for the bees to inspect, but they were kind of having a look to see how much longer they needed to wait and so on. I've got some other flowers on the window box and whatever. And in came this bee, so I sort of ushered him back out again. And he went and found one of the white flowers in the window box. And it was so nice to sort of sit and watch him for a while. And it occurred to me actually yesterday, when I was doing it again today, how nice bees' trousers are.
Oh, little fairy breeches.
Little furry breeches, aren't they marvellous? I like bees' trousers. Actually, I like all animals' trousers. I've got a thing about animals' trousers. But I'm in that mood where I need to inspect my cat's trousers. They sort of look at me like, oh no, not trouser day. Ooh.
Trouser drill.
Come on, show me your trousers. But there's something really just, I just love it. Yeah. But yeah, bees' trousers, aren't they marvellous?
Yes. Well, I've got what I call my bee tree, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's this overgrown. I mean, as a tree, it looks like nothing. It has nothing to commend it appearance-wise, but it is always covered in bees. So I call it the bee tree because, and I keep it purely because the bees love it. Yeah. They're tiny, tiny flowers, and the whole thing is literally humming with these creatures.
How amazing!
Yeah. It's extraordinary.
I must admit, last year when I moved here, I was saying this earlier today, one of the things, because I moved obviously in the winter time, if you remember. So I thought, oh, how nice it'll be come spring, waking up to bird song and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, I used to sleep with earplugs in. I don't know, but I used to sleep with earplugs in. And I was really amazed to be woken through double glazing, to be woken by the sound of bees, because the plum tree has so many blossoms on it that it's completely covered with bees. And they made such a noise. It was the bees that woke me up in the morning, not the birds. It was amazing.
The bees.
Who knew that? Yeah, bees got birds. Who knew they were that loud?
We've got very noisy birds, but we've got lots of eaves, and we've got it's jackdaws in one of the old unused chimneys, and we've got starlings, and we've got sparrows. They're all in the eaves.
Yeah.
And we've got quite a lot in the bushes outside. So, hubby's all like, right, we need to replace this fence. I mean, we can't do it till at least October, September, October, and they're all gone. You can't disturb the birds.
No, need to leave them be. Definitely. So what else did you get up to in the woods? Were you literally just wandering about, or did you sit and relax for a while, or what did you do?
I had a wander, and then I found a spot I wanted to sit in, and just, I love sitting with my back to a tree trunk, because you connect in. You've got the roots underneath you, and it's like, oh. And then I always find myself kind of wandering and thinking, what must it be like to be a tree? What must the world look like? Because time must be very different for a tree. Your mind ends up going all these little paths. I wonder what what it feels like to have leaves, and it's a little bit silly, but it's very lovely. It's a lovely journey to do, just to imagine what it feels like to be a tree.
That's like a meditation, isn't it? And you sort of imagining how it would feel to be a tree or one of the woodland animals or whatever. And it is. You sort of put yourself in mind of how it must feel to be, one of those other living creatures that's not a person. So
it's very connecting. And there was nobody about. I mean, that was the joy of it. I just wandered and wandered until there was no one. And perfect. Because that sort of jerks you back in. If you suddenly realise there's people walking, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, it jolts you back, doesn't it? Really, it does.
Yeah. So it is meditative. Yes, it very much is. And it is that feeling of being lost and kind of absorbed into the environment and connected with it. And that's, don't do it often enough, really.
Yeah. I think it's such an important thing. And they a few years ago, they sort of brought this thing. What was it? The buzzword was something like forest bathing. Remember?
Yes. It's a Japanese thing, isn't it?
People have been doing that for millennia. What's that with you?
There's nothing new under the sun, really, is there?
No, exactly. Cool. We've got this new thing. It's called forest bathing. Oh, what's that? You go into a forest and you sit there. Oh.
Okay. Venus just said that she asked a tree a question once and got a bizarre answer. So now we need to know what was the question and what was the answer, Tina. You can't just tease us with that.
Suspenders like that. That's not
exactly. She says, I was saying you've been here so long, you must have seen so much. That's a good conversation opener and no mistake.
It certainly is. I must admit, though, I feel the same about trees. When you look at them and you think, wow, so many decades have gone past, and so many people have sat underneath, walked underneath. Oh, everyone's on edge now. Come on, Tina. Come on, Tina. We need the punchline now, don't we?
I know, we're waiting for Tina's punchline.
No. Fight quicker.
I've been stood in the same place for so long. Yes.
Absolutely.
Indeed, you would have been.
Indeed. I was talking about trees. Actually, I was put to the spot.
Yeah, frozen.
Rather, yeah.
And bored. Oh
no. Yeah, I was talking about a specific tree that I used to live nearby the other day, and my mother told me that it was in the Doomsday Book. It was listed in the Doomsday Book.
Wow.
But interestingly, it's gone here. Interestingly, although there is one listed in the Doomsday Book, the one that's there now, people reckon is 250, 300 years old. So obviously that wouldn't tally.
No.
So whether it's a replacement, I don't know. But it's an amazing tree. And it's known both as the whispering tree and the witch's tree.
Sounds good.
And there's a legend that a witch was hung from the tree, which
not
isn't
good.
so good. But it's said that you shouldn't speak when you walk underneath it, because the witches will hear you. So you shouldn't. Personally, I think it's more out of a respect thing.
Yeah.
But also, if you are underneath it and you are quiet, you should be able to hear the whispering of the souls nearby, and so on. So yes, a lot of legends. It's lovely. It's this massive old cedar tree, absolutely gorgeous, really lovely. So yeah. Have we got to the punchline yet, Tina? Are you typing like mad?
It's just that I can't type fast, so maybe there's a work in progress, possibly.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But it's an amazing tree. It really is. But then it's funny, isn't it? You start looking at trees, and I've got lots of books of remarkable trees. Remarkable trees around England and Britain, and around the world as well. And some of them are just utterly amazing, aren't they? And it fills you with awe because you think they're so old and so. And like Tina said, they've seen so much and been there so long. It's just, and time doesn't seem to affect them. It's just incredible, really. And then some horrible people go and cut them down.
Well, yes.
So like that, that's right.
Oh, Mara's saying, I used to live near an old oak, old oak, one of the oldest in the country, and he was known as Old Knobbly.
Yeah.
You can guess why. Well, oaks are notoriously knobbly, aren't they? I love oak trees. They're one of my favourite. I just gravitate towards them. I love their habit. I like the bark. There's just something so earthed about them. They really do embody magically, a lot of that element of earth for me. So
I think they're really majestic, actually. I really do. Oh, blimey. We've got acrobatics going on.
Tina's punchlines arrived. No, it just said, not really. I've been stood in the same place. Nice one. Good punchline. An old knobbly is in the Mistley Wood. Sorry, the braces don't work, do they? Mistley Woods near Manningtree in Essex. Okay. Well, Manningtree, I mean, there's a name, isn't there?
Yeah.
But Essex is somewhere we haven't explored yet.
Mrs.
Yet, exactly.
We've got plans to rectify that error, haven't we?
We need to crack onto that. Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah. We've got things in the pipeline for that, haven't we? Definitely.
Yes.
No, I think it's actually. I think Essex is such a magical county. I mean, it's funny because you've got Cornwall and Devon are so known for being magical counties, haven't you? And yet, for me, I think Essex is equally so, but I think it's lesser noted.
Yeah, and given that England is going to be full of people on holiday, Essex is probably the one place they're not going to go because it just doesn't have the right. I mean, unless it's like Leigh-on-Sea or Southend or something, it hasn't got that same. This is a county you go on holiday in, so perfect from our point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was lying to me. She says I can read that.
Yeah, there was another punchline. They keep coming. Which the thing was, it was by the Brighton Palace Pier, so it was lying. Okay. Slightly confused now. Mara seems to have lost the sound. Can anyone else hear us, or have we gone?
Hopefully, yeah. Can you give a thumbs up that you can hear us?
That would be cool. Yeah.
Please.
And Tina was
when you say it answered you, Tina, how did it answer? Did you hear it in your head? Or did it kind of move with the wind in a certain way? Or Hannah can, that's good. Yeah. I asked at my work actually a couple of years ago. I asked for something. I can't think what it was now. But I wanted a sign. I wanted a specific sign that I'd been listened to, because I was in the trees and in the woods and doing my stuff. And I wanted a sign that I'd been listened to. And when I got back to the car, and I parked right on the edge of the woods, and I parked, there's 3 very, very large conker trees, horse chestnut trees, at the front, and I park kind of between 2 of them. And the nearest oak tree is probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 yards away. So a reasonable distance. And I got back to the car, and there was this perfect branch from an oak tree just laid across my windscreen, and it had all nice new acorns in its acorn cups and things on it, and it looked like it had just been put there. It hadn't, obviously. It had just fallen, but it was like, yeah, there's the sign. That's what I was looking for. So yeah.
Now, Gina did say that yes, the tree spoke to her in her head.
Yeah, nice. I think it's nice when we get to hear the spirit of the tree, the dryads.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's where the knock on wood thing comes from, isn't it? Apparently.
Yes, I believe it does.
Yeah, good old knock on wood.
Of course, I always do that because
nothing around.
Yeah, but touch wood. People say it's like, done.
Yeah. Do you know, I can't ever remember not doing that. That was just something that I've done because my parents did it. So it was just one of those things that you did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later that you start to question, well, actually, what does that mean? Or it was just what you did.
Exactly. I used to get people trying to sell me Lucky Heather, and I used to say, but I am Lucky Heather.
You don't really see that anymore, do you? Lucky Heather lady.
No, but there was a time when every street corner, not every street corner, but where people were trying to make some money, which is fair enough, and I might have given them some money and said, but I don't need the flower. I just said, well, I am Lucky Heather.
Yeah. You very seldom see that. There's a market that I very occasionally go to. I haven't been obviously for a long time, but lockdowns and all the rest of it. But there's a lady that goes there occasionally and sells heather, Lucky Heather. But you used to see the heather ladies all the time, didn't you? But not so much now. Mind you,
they're always older, weren't they? Or sometimes they're from little kids, which was worse because how could you refuse a small child?
Maybe that's why they got sent out. A marketing boy. Hi, Susie. What does that say? I can't read that.
Who from? Susie?
Susie. Oh.
It says she's following on the TV. The sound is fine. She's very interested in trees as she's speaking on the subject in September at a pagan gathering.
Oh, excellent.
Nice one. Well, yes, definitely check out Lucia then because she knows quite a lot too.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, definitely.
Useful extra info.
Yeah. Also, Susie, when I see you, I try and remember. I'll let you borrow these amazing books that I've got of these. It's called Remarkable Trees. You might already have them, but they're amazing books. Absolutely amazing. They're mostly picture books, but they're just stunning. And it sort of gives you information about the pictures that are in there and stuff. It's lovely. Actually, they're really nice. So, yeah. Well, I could talk about trees all blooming down. I just love them. I used to have an amazing oak tree in my garden when I was a little girl. So I mentioned this before, but we had quite a long garden that used to go down a very steep slope halfway across. And it used to end in a bird sanctuary at the bottom, which was cordoned off to the public. Nobody could go in there. So it was, the birds were safe. But in the bit of the garden that was on the slopey bit, we had the most enormous oak tree. And I always just considered that to be my tree. And that was it. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It was my tree, and that was how it was. And I used to spend hours down there under this tree. So it couldn't be seen from the house because, we sort of had like the flat bit, and then it sort of went down down the slope, and I'd be down the slope doing my stuff and making my lotions and my potions and mucking about with the tree and the fairies mostly. But I always considered it to be my tree, and even years later after I moved and my dad had moved away and so on, I used to occasionally drive past just so that I could see, sort of look through into the garden from the road to see my tree. I did that for a long time. Go and look at my tree.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's massive. It was, the biggest tree for miles around. It was huge. So, it didn't have a name or anything on it. And there was one year that I went, and they'd obviously had the tree surgeons in, and I was horrified because they sort of turned it into from this amazing thing that had not very low branches. It never had low enough branches to even be able to reach them, let alone climb them.
yeah, they tend not to.
Tend not to, no. But they'd obviously had the tree surgeon in and turned it into a lollipop. I was absolutely horrified.
That's rude to do that
It
to an
was.
animal.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the trees, like the limes and all that, yeah, fair enough. They kind of lend themselves to it, but not an oak.
No. And they did. They just cut all the branches that were anything house height, I suppose, right up to and including the roof height, and then just sort of left branches and foliage at the top. It just got a bloody lollipop. It was dreadful. I was horrified. In fact, it was probably the last time I went back.
Yeah.
I was a bit disgruntled with it. Oh, I was a bit disgruntled with it. Oh, sorry.
Oh dear.
That's a bit annoying. So yeah. What's Tina say? Up in Scotland.
There was one. She means a heather cellar.
Oh yeah.
A fortune teller and a heather cellar. The things tend to go together, don't they?
Yeah, they do tend to. Yeah. Mind you, I mean, it's almost accessing heather is not that easy anymore. I mean, again, it used to be one of those things that you could get hold of quite readily because there were the open spaces that had it on. But the spaces have been encroached on, haven't they? And have got housing estates on, or
yeah. And there was a time when a lot of people had these sort of conifers and heathers in their gardens. It was it 70s or 80s thing to have 101 different varieties of heather in the garden. But you need acid soil to grow it on, so it doesn't grow down here. We haven't got that.
It's not the right environment. I mean, you get further south. If you sort of go down towards the New Forest and down that way, you've got great swathes of it down there, haven't you? It's lovely, actually. Go there at the right time of year, and it's just gorgeous. But as I say, they've all these spaces. They've got housing estates and supermarkets and car parks built on top of them, haven't they? And
yeah,
gets somewhat flattened, unfortunately. Yeah. So we've got the solstice coming up fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and plans are taking shape very nicely, which is good.
Yes. Hopefully, all good.
Yeah.
Finally get to stay up all night.
Yeah. So I've got some crafting ideas as well for stuff that I want to sort of make to, decorate things for the solstice and that as well. And, I've sort of had some other friends that have been throwing ideas around, which is really nice. And it's, it's quite sort of nice to have something to look forward to and celebrate that you can.
Yes.
It's just that whole idea of being able to celebrate something rather than just wake up and go, oh yeah, it's that day again, and everything else is exactly the same. It's just
it's different. Thank goodness it's different. Really, it's been about time. Yeah.
One thing I haven't checked though, which I must do, and that is to see what moon phase it'll be when it's solstice. Do you know?
I can find out for you. I did look it up before, and I can't. But for some reason, I can't remember. Hang on. We'll find out.
Oh, Tina says there's lots of heather around here. Whereabouts is that then? I wonder. Council have planted heathers in the parks. So it's purpose planted rather than heathland heather. Yeah,
there's a lot, like I say, the municipal thing, and that the fact that they're quite easy if you've got the right soil. The moon phase that we've got is waxen gibbous, so we're past the full.
Yeah.
No, we're on the way to the full. God, excuse me. Yeah. So it'll be
So
nice.
is that where we're at now?
Hmm?
Is that where we're at now?
No, that's where we'll be on June the 20th, 21st.
Ah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting then.
And the moon is in Scorpio.
Yes, I know.
About emotional changes and emotional feelings. It's to do with feelings, I think.
Yeah. My moon sign is Scorpio. Do you know I was absolutely horrified when I found out?
Mine's Cancer. My moon sign.
Is it? No, mine's Scorpio. I was absolutely devastated, and I rechecked it about 3 times to see whether
You didn't want to have that.
to see whether I could get out of it or not.
We've got the new moon tomorrow, so yeah.
Ah, I knew it was coming soon.
Yeah.
Because the last couple of nights when I've come home late, I'm like, what's the blooming moon? And
I can't see it. What's going on?
Yeah. But it's been invisible for days, and it's not just been because we've had some quite good weather, haven't we? And it's not just been because the weather's bad and it's cloudy, and that's why we've not been able to see it. But I haven't been able to see the moon for it's over a week.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in ages either, which is why I couldn't tell you what. Yeah. I don't like losing touch with the moon. I don't like it at all.
No, I don't either. I like to know what we're doing with it, and so, mind you, I was glad to see the back of that blooming full moon a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? That really had us all quite on edge.
Yeah, I did not like that one at all. So I'm glad those energies have gone. That was not funny.
It was weird, wasn't it?
At all. Yeah, and the Mercury. Mind you, isn't Mercury almost always in retrograde?
It always seems to be, doesn't it? It's like, is it going bloody backwards?
It's 362 days of the year. It's in blooming retrograde.
That's that weird thing. Yeah. It's funny how that happens.
Always in retrograde.
Now, apparently, there's a partial solar eclipse tomorrow morning. That's according to Mara. That's not my knowledge because I'm not very up on these things.
Oh.
But will we be able to see it, or is it somewhere else? Because that often happens, doesn't it, where you can't see it?
Yeah, you hear it globally, don't you? Oh, there's going to be so and so and so and so. You get all excited, and it's like, yeah, but it's in
South Africa.
Timbuktu. Yeah. That's not so cool. Yeah. Oh, I wonder whereabouts that is. Is that in the UK, Mara? I wonder. And if so, what time? That'll probably be on my app. I won't be able to look at my app because it's really small. I can't see anything very much at the moment.
I'll see what I can find out because I can see. I have the eye. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. So I've got one blooming eye, and it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. So this is
annoying.
Oh, what do we call it now? Solar.
In the morning. Tina says I can read that. Oh.
Okay. How I went to see in the UK. I'm sorry. Excuse me, using my phone whilst we're live streaming.
Heather, if you look at the chat, I think it's 11:15 in the morning tomorrow.
It does. In the northeast.
Excellent.
Now, you're better. The further north you are, it looks like the more you'll be able to see it. You know, the more you'd notice.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be able to get to see some of it though down here.
But it'd be very slight. They kind of have you won't be able to see this, but they kind of got a map that shows totally, the actual eclipse is over the north, up in the Arctic. As you come down, you see a bit less of it. So people in northern Scotland, it's gone, might be able to see some of it. We might not get to see much at all because we're so far south.
Yeah.
How cool, though.
Well, that is cool. Excellent. I like it when you get planetary stuff going on.
Yeah, I'd love to see another eclipse. The last time was 1999 when I was down in Plymouth.
Yeah. I was at home. I had all the kids and my nephew and we were all standing out in the garden with their little boxes with pinholes in. Remember them?
Oh yeah, yeah. We were down in Plymouth at Nigel's mum's, and she sort of lives kind of on the top of a hill, and then over the other side is the moors. And as you stood up and looked at it, I could actually see the shadow rush, and that was amazing. Could see the shadow rush. It was a bit cloudy, so we didn't get as good a. But just that feeling when the fact that I could see it coming, it was like fucking hell. It was amazing.
Wow. How amazing is that?
I'd love to see another one, preferably without the cloud cover.
Yeah, we had cloud cover. So obviously we were up in Surrey, but yeah, we had cloud cover. But it kind of broke through the clouds sufficiently to be able to see it. So even though it was muted, you know, you did get to see some of it. But yeah, it was quite a grey day. But it surprised me how dark it got, actually.
Yeah. You think it can't get any darker, and it would, just for that very short time as the actual shadow really comes across. And the birds all shut up, you know, it's weird. Yeah. And the whole thing has such an eerie feel.
It was very strange, actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then you could see the light in the distance, so you knew it was phenomenal. Absolutely, especially to sit across the moors like that. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, for me, you know, I was in a relatively built-up area in Surrey, and also in a valley.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So that, you know, was a bit restrictive because you've not got that area around you to sort of see where shadow is. And
we want to be on the top of a hill next time. We'll go to the top of the hill.
Yeah. I wonder when the next one is. I don't know how often they happen, because there was one fairly recently, but it was in, I think it was visible in some of the Arab countries, I think. Yeah,
because you'd have to travel a long way, and it's like, oh no, well, I'm sorry, 2090. I'm not by no stretch.
I might be pushing out daisies by then.
Yeah, no, 2090. So it really was a once in a lifetime thing. Holy cow!
Really, 2090?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we can look at the rest of the world.
Yeah. 120 something.
Yeah, that's quite a tall order, really, isn't it? That's a big ask.
Yeah. Who's got a big ask? Jake.
Ask. You too. You. Big ask.
Yeah.
Here we go. We can see what the next one is. Oh, that's quite confusing. Okay. 10th of June. Well, someone's getting a whole one. I suppose that's
tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, but
where's that?
It's basically.
Well, I thought you were going to say Basingstoke then.
It's kind of over Greenland, bits of northern Canada and the Arctic. And that's the one where we'll get to see that tiny. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, could do some research and try and find out when the next one is. Yeah. That could be in a country we might stand a chance of being able to, I don't know, bumble on down to in the bee. Who knows? Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be a trip and a half, wouldn't it?
It would be. That'd be a road trip, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, count me in, put me down.
Let's start making plans. Then you'll find out you're in some damn movie and you'll be like,
no, I can't come. Oh dear. Yeah. Yes. So apart from trundling about in the woods, have you been up to any magical stuff?
Not a great deal apart from that, because when I came back from my two and a bit days away, I had a great pile of things to do, as is always the case, because I had boot fairs to go to and things like that. So yeah, it's been a lot of practical stuff again this week.
Do you ever find or look for magical items when you're at car boot sales or charity shops, or is it not on your radar?
Well, yes. This was today's little magical find, which I tried to show you earlier, and it was the witchy hat that kind of got me, but it's like a fairy garden. If I turn it up that way, you can see it's two little sort of mushroomy structures. little pathway, some foliage.
What's it made from?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, what's it made from? Is it porcelain or china?
It's kind of clay. Oh God, the problem is bits keep dropping off. Bits of its hedge. I don't know if it's homemade or what. It's very well done if it is homemade. But you know, there's something magical about tiny things. When I was very small, and I was reminded of this by somebody else, I did used to make, you know, like fairy gardens and try and make, you know, where you'd get moss for grass and make little tiny environments for very small creatures. I did that ever since I can remember, because I always had a fascination with miniature and tiny things and making tiny worlds. Still do, really. I just don't actually do it, and perhaps I would. But I used to love it, and because you get lost in that world,
literally in the minutiae.
So when I saw that today, that kind of reminded me of how I love to do that sort of thing. So I thought, oh, maybe that's something. Maybe I should craft something like that. Make little fairy spaces in my garden. And
cool. So, I think it's nice if you can, and it's, you know, it's a nice. I mean, I was saying to somebody the other day, I had a particularly bad day, and I was very, very out of sorts and so on. And when I got home in the evening, it's like, actually, what I need to do is just vegetate, and I wasn't in the right frame of mind to actually make something myself, which I find quite meditative anyway. But I wasn't in the right frame of mind to even think about what I wanted to make, let alone actually make it. So I thought, right, YouTube, and I'm going to look for something that's simple to make that I can just literally vegetate to while I'm watching. So I then spent the next couple of hours watching people make things with cardboard boxes.
Wow.
And they were jolly good, actually. Well, most of them were. Some of them were. Some of them really weren't. But
that's part of the amusement, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I've just spent 10 minutes watching you make that, and it's rubbish. But it's getting lost in that thing of making something, and of course, you know, recycle, reuse, repurpose, etc. You know, is my really big thing, and it's just so nice, even if you can't do it yourself for whatever reason. And saying that was my reason was because I was in a bad mood. That's a good reason. Don't have many of them, but I was in a real stonking mood. And it just helped me really calm down, and that's what I needed. I just needed, my mind was going 19 to the dozen, and I needed something to just turn the off button. You know, just press that off button. And that's what it did. And it calmed me down, and it's like, oh, that's quite nice, next. And and it's nice sort of seeing little things being made, and you know, just something from nothing. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are meditative and they are relaxing. But I certainly find that when I'm out and about doing my treasure hunting, I pick things I like. I pick things I connect with, and to me, I can't really separate the business of what I do with the magic of what I do, because it's all linked in. The way I find stuff is purely intuitive. I get a thing that says you need to go out today, or you should go to this boot fair, or go and look at that stall, and it's like the universe has given me all these things, and some days I'll find no jewelry, some days I'll find loads, some other days it's clothes, but and other times I find things for me. I came across a whole shed load of goth clothing. Wearing witchy clothing, I literally came across a mother load of it. No, some of it really isn't for me because it just doesn't work, but some of it is. It's like, cool. So I'm perfectly happy.
We are definitely going out on the Raz in Essex then.
Exactly. I'm perfectly happy to shop my own, to buy for me, because I will always clear out stuff anyway. And I might keep it a little while and then decide maybe it isn't for me and I won't wear it. But I feel I deserve that. If I'm hunting for stuff and something appeals, why can't I? You know, have it for me. It's not all about the business. It's about the joy of hunting and the joy of finding unexpected things. And the woman who sold me this stuff was lovely. She said, oh, I was given all this, but it's not my size. And I'm like, oh, it looks like mine. Ka-choom, ka-choom, ka-choom.
Pass it over here, one.
Yeah, some of it was new, you know, like Kill Star stuff and Gothicana stuff and Dark Star and all kinds of bits and pieces. So Very
Wow.
happy with it.
Very cool. That's brilliant. What a find.
Yeah.
Was that a charity shop or car boot sale?
No,
Or
that was literally at a car boot sale.
wow.
I saw a load of black clothing on a rail, and as we do, I'm like, oh, let's go and have a look. And then I realised it was like, ooh. So,
Wow.
I always wanted to have that. Thank you.
Very nice too. Cool. That was a real touch, wasn't it?
And I wasn't there particularly early. I wasn't the first person at the stall. I rocked up at a time that suited me. I wasn't in a great hurry, so
Yeah.
the universe meant me to have it. It was like, well, don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a real touch, wasn't it? Well, we got Becca in. Hello. Good evening.
Exactly. I am lucky, Heather, and that's how I work on it. I do believe that luck is about allowing it to happen rather than trying to force it. And I go along thinking it'd be nice if I find something. If I come away with nothing, I've still had a nice day.
Yeah.
I still had a trip out, some fresh air, etc. So try not to get attached to the result is vital. The minute you start to think I need or I must find it, it ain't going to happen. It just isn't. And I do think mental state and finding things or being open to the possibility of picking up what you need is absolutely vital.
Yeah. It's that whole thing of it being, and you can apply it in any situation. It's about enjoying the journey and not only striving for the destination, isn't it?
Yeah.
Essentially. And there's a lot to be said for that in so many every aspect of life.
In life, really, I think. Enjoy the good things, but don't get too attached to it or make it a necessity. Because the minute you start needing something, need is the enemy of intuition and magic in my book. You have to have intention, but then let go of the result. I know we've said this before. It's not always easy to do. And I've had days when I've gone out and found an apple, and I think, no, I just wasn't in the zone. I wasn't just letting it happen. It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so true, you sort of people sort of like, rush around to get wherever, and it's like, yeah, but there's time spent getting from that point to that point, and why make it stressful and unpleasant when you can make it so much nicer, even if it's a different destination. It's just make it nice, make the journey nice for wherever it is that you're going to, whether it happens to be a walk to the shop or whether it happens to be sort of the journey of a career. It's I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said for that, really. A lot of people are in too much of a hurry, it seems to me, to get to the destination rather than enjoy the stuff on the way. Ooh,
exactly. Some of the delight of having this camper van. It doesn't go as it's much older than my previous car, etc., etc. It doesn't go as fast. But I love being in it. I like the feeling of being higher up and being on a journey. It really feels like a journey rather than just being like, yeah, well, I'm going from here to here.
Yeah.
So it's more enjoyable. It's more fun.
Yeah, definitely. And let's face it, we never all get enough fun, do we? There's always plenty more to be had.
You can't have too much fun.
No, I don't think so. No, I'd agree with that, definitely. Oh, do my head in. Really sorry.
Charity shop. Yeah, that's fake. Working in a charity shop. Temptation on tap.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I'd be bringing it all home. My auntie used to do that. She used to collect things. It was before charity shops were really a thing. So there was, maybe the occasional Oxfam shop in larger towns, but generally speaking, it was before, the myriad of charity shops turned up like we've got now. And she had a very, very large house in West Croydon. And almost every room was floor to ceiling with plastic bags of other people's stuff that was waiting to be sorted, to be given to homeless. And so she was a very charitable person, amazing lady, actually. And she used to spend hours and hours and hours sorting all this stuff to give to homeless charities and give to homeless people and do all sorts of stuff with. But it was like, It was just like walking into a jumble sale in every room in her house. It was floor to ceiling. And she'd say, well, people need it. Be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But,
Sounds a tad hoardy, though. The whole point is to move it through.
It was constant. Yeah, it was this constant thing, so it wasn't sort of stacking up and staying there.
Fabulous. She was moving on.
No, it was constantly being sorted. She was amazing. She was, the last time I saw her, she was in her early 90s. And I said to her, so, Auntie Sally, what you've been up to? And she said, oh, well, I've been really busy, dear. So I said, oh, why is that? And she said, well, I've got a couple of elderly aunts that I go shopping for.
What? Yeah.
And one was
how old were these aunts, for goodness sake?
Yeah. And one was 114. I think the other one was 111 at that point. Wow. And they don't get out as much, said my auntie. But she was in her early 90s. It was like, okay. But her mother was 116, I think, when she died. So, yeah. And it's like, well, at 93, she was a spring chicken, really. So, yeah. And she was never have known to look at her. You'd have thought maybe she was in her 60s. Maybe. Yeah. Late 50s, 60s. And yet she was in her 90s. Amazing lady. Absolutely amazing.
Fabulous.
Yeah. She wasn't a blood auntie. She was my uncle's wife. But, yeah, she was quite an amazing lady, actually. She really was. So, yeah, it was that whole thing of, there's this, I know she's a very old lady, she's in her 90s, and then she's saying, oh, well, I've been busy looking after my elderly aunt.
Yeah, it's going to make you take a slight step backwards, isn't it?
You still got aunts at that age. It's amazing. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, she was quite an outstanding person. She really was. So, yeah. I don't know. How are we doing for time? Well, I suppose we ought to shut up, really. It's about 9 o'clock-ish, I think. Did you catch any of the paranormal chat that we had last week yet, Heather?
No.
Oh, wow. It was an absolute cracker. So I had Lisa come and talk to me. And what we didn't get onto the subject of, unfortunately, but she's going to come back and talk to me again another time. Then and we didn't get onto the subject of when she came to my woods and did an investigation at my woods. We didn't get onto that subject.
Oh, yeah, that deserves a whole episode, that does.
It does, really, yeah. But it was fascinating. She talked about so many different things, and it was just brilliant. It really, really was. So, yeah,
I've got it bookmarked. It's on the list of catch up.
On the list of things to watch. But it was so good. And Lisa, if you get to watch this, I just want to say thank you again for coming on, because it was brilliant and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really, really good. So, yes, indeed. Anyway, we'll be back next week, won't we? We're not gallivanting off, are you?
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
not till we do.
No, because we're saving that for the weekend, aren't we?
Exactly.
Ouchies. Proper ouchies. Proper ouchies. I can't wait. So, yes. So, yeah, we'll see you next weekend. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you haven't already, please click subscribe and like and all the usual things that people on YouTube say. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
You know the drill. And, yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Awkward waving, as Heather puts it.
Bye-bye now.